When you want to install and operate a clean room, you have to respect strict regulations, standards that ensure that clean rooms are set up and run in compliance with the relevant specifications. ISO standards are particularly important in this context. They create the basis for international harmonization, cooperation, and business, for example, in the production of pharmaceutical products. My guest today, Haşim Solmaz, is a true specialist in this field. A warm welcome to you, Haşim. I am happy to have you here for our conversation.
Hi, Jutta. How are you?
Hi. Fine. I hope you are doing well as well.
Very well. Thank you so much.
Okay. A warm welcome also to our listeners and viewers. My name is Jutta Monden. I am part of the marketing communication team of the technical trade fairs. And I am looking forward to finding out more about standards in clean rooms. Haşim, you are a general manager at Lighthouse Worldwide Solutions, which is based in Istanbul in Turkey, and you are a member of the executive board of the International Confederation of Contamination Control Societies, ICCC, which is a non-profit organization for the promotion of the field of contamination control. We all know clean room technology is a very specialized but still exciting industry. I would kindly invite you to tell us a few words about yourself, Haşim. How did you come to work in the cleanroom industry, and what is your personal background?
Thank you so much. First of all, thank you for this opportunity and inviting me to your podcast. Actually, I started like 12 years back to this industry specifically together with Lighthouse Worldwide Solutions. And we started EMEA, Europe, Middle East, and Africa operations, which is now based in Istanbul, Turkey. And we have been dealing with contamination control in different industries, such as pharmaceuticals, aerospace, electronics, semiconductor. So our regional office is responsible for the countries not limited with providing service and support, but also after sales, calibration services, so on. And I have been in the industry for 12 years, directly with working with the clients who are in need of contamination control. And as you mentioned, we have a certain standard ISO families, ISO 14644 standard families, which is also designing the shape of our contamination control industry with classification, with testing, and so on. So we try to follow all these ISO regulations to provide the service to our clients.
Thanks for this information, Haşim. So before we start talking about regulations and standardization, first of all, as a warm-up, I would like to do a little quiz. Are you ready for this?
Yeah,
Okay, Haşim, coffee or tea?
coffee,
Bike or car?
car.
Summer or winter?
Tough question. Winter,
Okay. City or nature?
nature,
Pizza or salad?
pizza.
Okay. Thank you for joining in this little game.
Thank you.
But
Nice
now,
questions, by the way.
yeah. But now let's dive into the world of contamination control
Oh, yeah.
regulations and let's hear which are the latest updates and novelties.
Mhm.
Firstly, I would like to ask you to give us an overview of the current standards in the cleanroom industry.
In cleanroom industry, there is a one major standard, which is ISO 14644. And this standard, with the families, more than 15 standards available today. And recently we have a new technical report as well. So these standards and technical reports are providing us a very wide coverage, not limited with a specific industry, but for each industries whomever using the contamination control in the field. Sometimes we are giving this as an example. Mostly we know the pharmaceuticals, electronics, so on, but there is also industries like automotive paint shops or specific applications in medical industries. So they're all using this 14644 standard family. And in this family, dash one, which is a clean room classification, is the main standard actually. This is the only standard available today to classify clean rooms. Rest of the other standards are either describing and monitoring for different parameters, or describing how to test, how to design, how to implement, and how to take a necessary action for contamination control in our field.
Okay, thank you. So the standards you were talking about, are they being used specifically for pharmaceutical applications?
Very nice question, actually. It's not limited with the pharmaceutical application. ISO standard is a general standard and applicable for any industry, requires a contamination control. Sometimes this contamination control is for sterility, like you mentioned in pharma, in medical applications. But in some cases, it's just for the yield of a product, like we are doing in microelectronics and semiconductor. So depending on the requirement in industry, ISO can be applied in various industries, not limited with pharmaceuticals.
Okay, thank you. So for industry-specific applications, what are the requirements in this field? And what has to be respected to get aligned with these specific clean room requirements?
Very good question. We have industry-specific regulations, which also regulates these industries, referring to this ISO 14644 standard family. For example, in pharmaceuticals, we have GMP, PICS regulations in place, where we also see the specific requirements for a special area, like in pharmaceuticals, or in different industries. For example, in automotive, the cleanliness of the part is defined with a very well-known German regulation, VDI. So they have a regulation which regulates a specific industry. But all these regulations are also mentioning a specific part of an ISO. They are still using the ISO cleanroom classification tables or using how to design clean rooms by referring the required ISO standard. And these regulations are the main regulatory organization for specific industries.
Okay, thank you. So you have been talking about the ISO 14644, the cleanroom standard family. Can you explain a little bit more what is the scope of this ISO standard and how they are helping us in the cleanroom industry?
So this standard family is still developing itself, and recently Dash 20, now working group 2 in ISO TC 209, start working on it. By the way, all the ISO 14644 standard series are written by the ISO Technical Committee 209, Cleanrooms and Associated Controlled Environments Technical Committee. This technical committee has more than 20 members internationally. Each country's regulatory body either directly sending subject matter experts, or they have a mirror technical committees within their countries, and they're assigning subject matter experts as a head of delegate or the delegate for this organization. And these working groups are working together with this international subject matter experts to put together this standard. As I mentioned before, Dash 1, which is a cleanroom classification, is the main standard for the whole family. And the Dash 2, for example, it's providing an evidence for the continuous monitoring, by continuous monitoring to suitability of clean rooms. Or Dash 3 explains us how to test our clean room for specific industries. 4, 5, how we're going to design and how we will maintain our clean room by mentioning details. So we have up to 20 subdivisions, the parts of this ISO family, and each and every of these parts are giving us a specific description for specific application within the clean rooms. And again, this is valid for each and every contamination control area, not specific for any industry for sure.
Okay, so it's a complicated but still very interesting subject.
Exactly.
So when we look into the future, let's say for the next 4 to 5 years, do you expect any changes or revisions with regard to this standard series?
There are still committees working on new standards. For example, we have working group 7, which now we are updating the isolators and restricted access barrier systems, which is a specific subject. And under this subject, there will be a new revision of the standard ISO 14644-7, and we are going to see it within the next 1.5 year, most probably. As I mentioned before, we are working on 14644-20, assessment of cleanroom suitability in terms of microbiological activities. And there are, of course, other standards we'll be mentioning within the family. For example, recently in Philippines last year, we decided to form a cleanroom robotics working group, actually the new ad hoc group, which in the future, there will be a new standard available maybe in this family, talking about specifically on the robotics technologies within the cleanroom environment. And this is a very active area. Technology is evolving, so we are requiring more and more standardization for specific applications. That's why I'm sure we will see more standards coming into this 14644 standard family.
Okay, great. So we will also see more information, I think, at Cleanzone show in September. We will talk about that later. First of all, thank you for all these interesting insights. Apart from the pure standardization issue, let's have a general look into the future of clean room technology. What will you expect in the coming years? What is your opinion?
I think the robotics technologies in clean rooms
Okay.
will be one of the main subjects, and the industry getting cleaner. Clean rooms are getting smaller, but more complicated. So the regulations, such as the isolator technologies, we will see them more common, and the cleanliness levels, since we require more clean environment in clean rooms, there will be more and more requirement for the smaller particle size classification in controlled environments. For example, as of today, if we give an example is the pharmaceutical applications, we're seeing more and more demand on a smaller, compact systems, robotic technologies, using operators less and less in sterile environments. This is how the industry evolving itself. And also in different industries, like in electronics, this technology, nanotechnologies, size are getting smaller and smaller. So the standardization is now starting with 100 nanometers, zero point 0.1 micron. Maybe in the long run, we are going to see the smaller particle size to be used and mentioned in our standard to measure and nanoscale particles. So this is another interesting development in our industry. Actually, the industry and the technology defining the limits of our standardization. So since it's getting advanced, we are going to see more advanced cleanroom standards in the future.
Great. Great. Thank you, Hashim. Um, well, now you are based in Turkey, although you are traveling around very much. But I would like to hear from you some things about the Turkish market. So, in this context, or in the context of Cleanzone, where you're also hosting a conference program, could you give me some information about the Turkish cleanroom market, about Turkish cleanroom companies, and how important they are for the European or international market?
Turkey actually is a very resilient industry, especially with the clean room. We're able to provide any kind of solution with a very, how can I describe it? In a very effective way, actually. And if you see any applications in Turkey, it's mostly a turnkey solution where you can provide from A to Z as a one-stop solution. This is the beauty behind Turkey market potential. So, for example, if you will start a new nanotechnology infrastructure, you can develop the whole structure with the local suppliers' support. So that's one of the thing about the Turkish industry. And in the long run, I hope we will also develop the new technologies where we are talking about the high-tech end of the production, not limited with the building clean rooms and providing infrastructure for the clean rooms, but also the equipments that are running within the clean room. So we are seeing a lot of new technology companies and startups working on these technologies. So Turkey is quite strong in terms of supporting domestic needs, as well as exporting products internationally. My responsibility in Lighthouse, we are working in the EMEA region, Europe, Middle East, and Africa. Wherever I go, we have 41 countries under Istanbul operations. Wherever I go, I'm seeing suppliers from Turkey either providing HEPA filters or cleanroom partition systems or cleanroom consumables. So we are seeing a lot of entrepreneur from the Turkish market who are also dealing with the regional hub as a regional hub to provide this solution outside of Turkey. We are seeing this impact on the international events as well. For example, in Cleanzone, this year there will be a Turkish pavilion where the Turkish companies will also participate to see how they can interact with the international companies. Either they're opening up a new era by attending this event, or they already have the customers and the potential in Europe so that they want to meet with their customers while they're in Cleanzone. I think that's the beauty behind our contamination control industry here in Turkey. And I hope in the future there'll be more and more high-tech production in Turkey with the government support, with the fundings, as well as the entrepreneurship, which is the main asset on our land, actually.
Thank you, Haşim, for sharing your knowledge and all the interesting information with us today.
Most welcome.
Standardization in the clean room is an important and at the same time complex topic. Thank you, dear listeners, for joining us. Cleanzone 2024 will take place on 25 and 26 September and will give answers to these complex cleanroom questions. We would be very happy to welcome you there. And we also invite you to follow Cleanzone at LinkedIn, Facebook, or X.
Thank you so much. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
your time, and
Thank you.
hope to see you in Cleanzone.